Santa Cruz Ports, Alaska.
Table of Contents, Alaska.
Senile-friendly books are designed to provide accessibility together with quality. The combination of reading, hearing, and seeing are used to maximize comprehension and retention. And above all, enjoyment.
Dr. Sydney Sokoloff. drsidney22@gmail.com. 2022.
Narration by Dr. Sydney Sokoloff,
Zoe Phonemes.
And Nathan Koltov.
To play or pause the video, select the appropriate icon, or press the K key or the space bar.
The right and left arrow keys will advance or retard the video by 5 seconds, respectively, in both the play and pause modes.
If you see this in the upper right corner of the video, and you select the left mouse button, it will give you a list of recommended videos or a playlist of related videos. If you select this arrow and then exit the full screen, you will see a display of the chapters like this example. This is the listing of the first 6 chapters, and by scrolling down, you can see the rest of the chapters.
Chapter 2. Introduction to Alaska.
North to Alaska, go north, thrush your song. North to Alaska, go north, thrush your song. Big Sam left Seattle in the year of 92. With George Pratt, his partner, and brother Billy too. They crossed the Yukon River and found the Bonanza Gold below that old white mountain, just a little southeast of Nome. Sam crossed the Majestic Mountains to the valleys far below. He talked to his team of huskies as he mushed on through the snow, with the northern lights a-running wild in the land of the midnight sun. Yes, Sam McCord was a mighty man in the year of 1901.
Stars of gold on a field of blue, Alaska's flag may it mean to you the blue of the sea, the evening sky, the mountains, lakes, and the flowers nearby, the cold of the early sourdough streams, the precious gold of the hills and streams, the brilliant stars in the northern sky, the Bear, the Dipper, and shining high, the great North Star with its steady light, o'er land and sea, a beacon bright, Alaska's flag to Alaskans dear, the simple flag of the last frontier. Last frontier.
Alaska adopted this flag for official state use in 1959.
Chapter 3. Where is Alaska?
Alaska is at the extreme northwest corner of the North American continent.
Alaska occupies a huge peninsula, from which hang two long extensions. To the southwest is the Alaska Peninsula and the Aleutian Islands chain.
To the southeast is the Alaska Panhandle bordering the Canadian province of British Columbia. Alaska borders the Arctic Ocean to the north and northwest.
The Bering Strait and the Bering Sea are on the west. The Pacific Ocean and Gulf of Alaska are on the south. To the east is the 500-mile, 805-kilometer, border with the Yukon Territory of Canada and British Columbia. Chapter 4. How big is Alaska?
Alaska is the largest of the states in size and the third smallest in population.
The international date line runs through the Bering Strait. On one side is Little Diomede Island, a part of the United States. On the other side, only 2.5 miles, 4 kilometers, away, is Big Diomede Island, which is part of Russia.
The tip of the Seward Peninsula, on the Alaskan mainland, is a little more than 50 miles, 80 kilometers, across the Bering Strait from the Russian mainland.
The state is so large that it increased the area of the United States by 1/5 when it became a state.
Here is the area comparison of the 6 largest U.S. states. We see that Alaska is the largest state in area by a very wide margin. Alaska is more than twice the size of Texas. If overlaid over a map of the 48 states, Alaska would extend from San Francisco to Charleston, South Carolina, and up to the northern border of Minnesota with Canada.
The distance from Attu, in the Aleutians, to Ketchikan, in the Panhandle, is greater than the distance from San Francisco, California to New York City.
Nearly everything about this 49th state is big. Alaska has 17 of the 20 highest mountains in the United States, and 70 volcanoes, 3,000 rivers, 3 million lakes, and more active glaciers and ice fields than anywhere else in the inhabited world.
Although Alaska is by a large margin the largest state in area, it is one of the smallest populations of all of the states. Here is the population comparison of the 6 least populous U.S. states. Alaska has, by a large factor, the smallest population density of all of the states. Outside of Anchorage, Fairbanks, and the southeast Alaska Panhandle region, the state is virtually unpopulated. Alaska is noted for its scenic beauty. Huge animals still thrive in its open spaces, with Kodiak grizzly black and polar bears, moose, caribou, musk oxen, wolves, otter, walrus, seals, humpback, and killer whales. Alaska was purchased from Russia for $7.2 million on March 30, 1867. In 1912, Alaska was incorporated as a territory as the first step towards statehood. In 1959, Alaska became the first new state, after New Mexico and Arizona became states in 1912.
The name Alaska comes from the Aleut word Alaksak, meaning the Great Land or mainland. Its nicknames are the Land of the Midnight Sun and America's Last Frontier. It was once labeled Seward's Folly and Seward's Icebox in ridicule of the Secretary of State, William Seward, who negotiated the purchase of what was then considered a liability.
Settlement and exploitation have been hindered by distance, geographic and climate impediments to travel and communications. Alaska continues to be America's last frontier.
Chapter 5. The Arctic slope. Nearly 1/3 of the state lies beyond the Arctic Circle and has perennially frozen ground, called permafrost, and treeless tundra. The principal mountain range in the northern part of Alaska is the Brooks Range, which lies mostly north of the Arctic Circle. The Brooks Range can be thought of as a continuation of the Canadian Rockies and the Rocky Mountains of the U.S., and is part of the Great Chain of Mountains ranges, or Cordillera, that extend through North and South America.
The Arctic Slope or North Slope covers about 1/6 of Alaska north of the Brooks Range. The climate is of the true Arctic type, with light snow and little rain.
This region north of the Arctic Circle is known as the Land of the Midnight Sun, because the sun never sets in the midsummer months.
The town of Barrow is on the north coast of Alaska and is at the northernmost point on the North American continent. Note the treeless tundra in the distance and the absence of snow or ice at this time of the year. Even in the winter months there is little snow accumulation. At Point Barrow the sun remains above the horizon for 84 consecutive days. Continuous sunshine in summer brings up mosses and bright flowers, even though the soil thaws only to a depth of a couple of feet. In the summer the permafrost soil thaws only to a depth of a couple of feet. Note that there is no permafrost in the panhandle of southeast Alaska.
When Alaska became a state, California lost the distinction of having the nation's highest peak, which was Mount Whitney at 14,000 feet, 4,267 meters, to Alaska's Mount McKinley, which stands at 20,320 feet, 6,194 meters. The immense area of Alaska has a great variety of physical characteristics.
In the southern part of Alaska is the Alaska Range. This can be considered to be the northward extension of the Sierra Nevada Mountains and the coast ranges of the west coast of the lower 48 states.
This is Canada and Alaska in mid-July. We see that most of the glaciers are along the coastal regions of southeast Alaska and in the high altitudes of the Canadian Rockies. The bright blue arc is the Earth's atmosphere, as distinguished from the black of outer space.
This is Alaska in mid-July. We see that most of the state is free from snow and ice, and the glaciers are mostly along the coastal regions of southeast Alaska and in the high altitudes on the region near Mount McKinley and Denali National Park.
It is the southeastern coastal area that receives the most precipitation from the moist winds coming off of the Pacific Ocean, and hence the most numerous glaciers in Alaska.
More than half of Alaska's population lives in the southern interior basins around Anchorage.
This is the Anchorage metropolitan area.
Most of the remainder of the population live in the interior plains around Fairbanks or in the Panhandle region, where Juneau is the capital, major city, and administrative center of the state.
Tiny pockets of people are scattered in small villages, mostly near the coast. Chapter 6. Population of Alaska.
Chapter 6. Population of Alaska.
It's Sitka, Alaska, in area. That is, while New York City is the most populous city in the United States, Sitka, Alaska is the largest city in area. Sitka is larger in area than the state of Delaware.
Officially known as the City and Borough of Sitka, the city consolidated the city of Sitka Borough in 2000 to become the country's largest city. Sitka displaced Juneau, Alaska as the largest city.
Here is the population of the 5 largest cities in Alaska. We see that Anchorage is by a very large margin the largest Alaskan city in population. The entire population of Alaska is only 630,000.
The Aleutian Island archipelago is mainly populated by the indigenous Aleut people. The climate on these islands is generally windy, chilly, cloudy, and foggy all year long, especially in the winter. It's a rather inhospitable place. The southern coast and the panhandle at sea level are fully temperate regions in this area and in the adjoining Canadian areas. However, it's the world's largest expanse of glacial ice outside Greenland and Antarctica.
As much as 92% of this part of Alaska is comprised of federal land and another 2.5% is state land.
The largest and most important river in Alaska is the Yukon River. The Yukon River is the 3rd longest river in North America, rising in the Coastal Range Mountains of northern British Columbia, just north of Juneau.
The Yukon flows northwest for 700 miles, 1130 kilometers, through the Yukon Territory to Alaska. The river then winds its way through the length of Alaska for another 1,300 miles, 2,100 kilometers, before emptying into the Bering Sea.
Fairbanks is on the Chena River, a tributary of the Yukon. The Klondike Gold Rush of 1898 was centered on the Klondike River, a tributary of the Yukon River, in Yukon Territory in Canada. The Sitka spruce is the state tree of Alaska. The forget-me-not is the state flower of Alaska.
Chapter 7. Fire and Ice.
Much of Alaska's mountains and glaciers are the result of the motion and collision of sections of the Earth's crust, floating on the Earth's molten core. These sections of the Earth's crust floating on the Earth's molten core are called tectonic plates.
The Earth's crust is made up of a number of tectonic plates floating on a semi-liquid mantle.
These plates are in a variety of irregular sizes and shapes.
The Earth's crust is floating on the semi-liquid mantle.
The Earth's crust is not continuous, but broken into a number of pieces or plates.
These pieces or plates of the Earth's crust are called tectonic plates.
This shows the various tectonic plates of the Earth. They are in a variety of sizes and shapes.
The plates are moving slowing with respect to each other, typically a few centimeters per year.
Some plates are separating or diverging, such as those that meet in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
As shown here, where the North American and Eurasian plates are separating, as are the South American and African plates. All around the Pacific Ocean where the big Pacific Plate meets surrounding plates there is an area of strong earthquake and volcanic activity called the Ring of Fire.
This arc around the Pacific Rim is called the Ring of Fire because of the concentration of volcanic and seismic activity.
The major trenches on the map are located where tectonic plates meet, with one being driven under another.
The Aleutian Island chain, or archipelago, was formed by a series of volcanoes erupting at the boundary of the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate. In the lower 48 states, this chain of volcanoes is continued by Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens in Washington, Mount Hood in Oregon, Mount Shasta and Mount Lassen in California, and many other volcanoes. This process of mountain building can be the result of one plate sliding underneath another plate, called subduction. This produces cracks in the Earth's crust. The resulting heat and pressure causes the rocks to melt, forming molten magma. This then percolates upward through the cracks to become lava flows and volcanoes.
This is where the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate meet all along the west coast of the US and Canada. The Pacific Ocean Plate is drifting very slowly to the northeast.
The Pacific Plate is moving in a northwest direction underneath the North American Plate at a rate of about 2 inches, or 5 centimeters per year. In the panhandle of southeastern Alaska, the collision of the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate produces the uplift, buckling, and folding of the region adjacent to the plate boundary.
This results in the formation of the mountain ranges of coast mountains in the Alaska Panhandle.
Chapter 8. The Inside Passage. The Inside Passage is a natural sheltered sea route that extends more than 1,000 miles, 1,600 kilometers, from Seattle northwest through British Columbia to Skagway in Alaska. It is an important coastal route for Canadian shipping as well as the route generally used by ships sailing between the continental United States and Alaska. The Inside Passage is also called the Inland Passage, or the Marine Highway.
The Inside Passage is comprised of channels and straits between the mainland and islands, including Vancouver Island, Queen Charlotte Islands, and the Alexander Archipelago of Alaska that protect it from Pacific storms. The Inside Passage is the route generally used by coastal shipping to Alaska and is favored for its scenic beauty and dependable smoothness.
The southern end of the Inside Passage can be considered to be Seattle, Washington. The passage then goes north through Puget Sound, wends its way through the San Juan Islands, and then up through the Strait of Georgia between the mainland of British Columbia and Vancouver Island. Towns along the passage include Seattle, Victoria, Vancouver, and Prince Rupert in British Columbia. And in Alaska, there is Ketchikan, Wrangell, Petersburg, Sitka, Juneau, and Skagway. This shows various routes used by ships in the Alaska Marine Highway section of the Inside Passage.
In most places there is ample depth for all vessels and anchorages are numerous. Extensive surveys have identified practically all hazards to navigation.
This is the Alaskan portion of the Inside Passage in the north, extending 500 air miles, 800 kilometers, from north to south.
The Inside Passage has 1,000 islands, 15,000 miles, 24,000 kilometers, of shoreline and thousands of coves and bays.
The Inside Passage is heavily traveled by cruise ships, freight lines, fishing craft and ships of the Alaska Marine Highway and British Columbia ferries systems.
The mainland side of the Inside Passage in Alaska has an abundance of glaciers, and also many magnificent fjords.
The snow-capped mountains, forests, waterfalls, glaciers, and deep, narrow channels all combine to give the Inside Passage great scenic beauty. The Inside Passage in Alaska is bordered on the seaward side by the Alexander Archipelago, a group of more than 1,000 islands.
The archipelago was first visited by the Russians in 1741, and was later explored by Britain, Spain, and the United States.
The islands are the exposed tops of submerged coastal mountains that rise steeply from the Pacific Ocean. All of the islands are rugged, densely forested, and have an abundance of wildlife. The Tlingit are native to the area.
Vancouver Island, the Queen Charlotte Islands, the Alexander Archipelago, and even the Aleutian Archipelago can be considered to be the northern extension of the Coast Range of mountains that run from the southern tip of Baja California up through California, Oregon, and Washington. The Inside Passage can similarly be considered to be a submerged valley that is a continuation of the Gulf of California, the Central Valley of California, and the Willamette Valley of Oregon.
These are scenes of the Inside Passage.
Many cruise ships traverse the Inside Passage. Chapter 9. Alaska Climate.
Will it be warm? Or will it be cold in Alaska?
The climate of the southeastern panhandle of Alaska is strongly influenced by the Pacific Ocean. The subarctic current coming from the west splits into two parts.
One part is the California current that heads south along the California coast and helps to keep the California coastal regions much cooler than would otherwise be the case. The Alaska current heads north along the southeastern panhandle of Alaska, including through the Inside Passage, and helps to keep the Alaska coastal regions much warmer than would otherwise be the case. Here are the surface sea temperatures on July 13, 2005. Note the effect of the Gulf Stream on temperatures in northern Europe, and a similar effect due to the Alaska current on temperatures in southeastern Alaska.
Indeed, the climate in the southeastern panhandle of Alaska is similar to that of the southern coastal part of Scandinavia. Is, for example, Stockholm in Sweden.
We see that the sea temperatures along the southeastern Alaska coast are substantially warmer as a result of the ocean currents, thus causing the temperatures in the coastal regions of the Inside Passage to be warmer than would be expected for that latitude.
Here are the surface sea temperatures on January 19, 2005. We again note the effect of the Gulf Stream on temperatures in northern Europe, and a similar effect due to the Alaska current on temperatures in southeastern Alaska.
Indeed, the climate in the southeastern panhandle of Alaska is similar to that of the southern coastal part of Scandinavia. Is, for example, Stockholm in Sweden.
We see that the sea temperatures along the southeastern Alaska coast are substantially warmer as a result of the ocean currents, thus causing the winter temperatures in the coastal regions of the Inside Passage to be warmer than would be expected for that latitude.
Alaska is such a huge state that we should expect that temperatures would exhibit considerable variation. The climate in Juneau is strongly moderated by the proximity to the water and to the Pacific Ocean. Here are average high and low temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit throughout the year in Juneau. We see that the midsummer temperatures are cool, but pleasant, although it does get chilly at night. The winter temperatures do go down to freezing, but are not extremely cold. Here are average high and low temperatures in degrees Celsius throughout the year in Juneau.
Here is a comparison of the average monthly temperatures in Fairbanks, in pink, and in Juneau, in blue. We see that due to its inland location, Fairbanks experiences a much larger annual swing in temperature than does Juneau. The yearly average temperature in Fairbanks is 27 degrees Fahrenheit, as compared to Juneau at 41 degrees Fahrenheit. The January average in Fairbanks is a frigid -10 degrees Fahrenheit, as compared to a much more moderate 26 degrees Fahrenheit for Juneau. On the other hand, although Fairbanks is about 700 kilometers north of Juneau, the July average for Fairbanks reaches 62 degrees Fahrenheit, as compared to Juneau's cooler July average of about 56 degrees Fahrenheit.
Here is a comparison of the average monthly temperatures in New York City, in green, and in Juneau, In blue, we see that surprisingly, the winter temperatures are not very different, but the summers are much warmer in New York City.
The average July temperature in New York City is 76 degrees Fahrenheit, as compared to 56 degrees Fahrenheit in Juneau.
The average January temperature in New York City is 31 degrees Fahrenheit, as compared to 26 degrees Fahrenheit in Juneau. So we see that Juneau is only a few degrees colder than New York City in the winter time.
Here is a comparison of the average monthly temperatures in Chicago and Juneau, in blue. We see the winters are actually colder in Chicago than in Juneau, although the summers are much warmer.
The average July temperature in Chicago is 75 degrees Fahrenheit, as compared to 56 degrees Fahrenheit in Juneau. The average January temperature in Chicago is 23 degrees Fahrenheit as compared to 26 degrees Fahrenheit in Juneau. So we see that Chicago is actually colder than Juneau in the wintertime.
Here is a comparison of the average monthly temperatures in Barrow, Alaska, in green, and in Juneau, in blue. Barrow is on the Arctic Sea on the north slope of Alaska, and above the Arctic Circle, so it is to be expected that the temperatures there will be very cold in the winter season. This is especially the case because of the lack of any sunshine during the long Arctic nights.
Here is the average monthly rainfall in Juneau. We see that there is substantial rain all year long, with the rainfall increasing in the fall months, reaching a peak in October.
Here is the average monthly rainfall in Ketchikan. We again see that there is substantial rain all year long, with the rainfall increasing in the fall months, reaching a peak in October. Chapter 10. The effect of mountains on rainfall. The ocean waters are warmed by the sun. Water evaporates from the ocean. As the water vapor rises in the atmosphere, it cools and condenses into tiny water droplets, which forms clouds.
Under the influence of onshore winds, the clouds are forced higher up the slopes of the coastal mountain ranges.
The water droplets in the clouds condense and fall as rain, and at higher elevations as snow.
On the eastern or inland side of the mountains, there is a rain shadow, and the precipitation is much less.
Here are July temperatures in North America. Note that the coastal regions of Oregon, Washington, British Columbia, and the Alaskan Panhandle or Inland Passage region are now a bit cooler than regions of corresponding latitude inland. Here are July temperatures in North America. Note that the coastal regions of Oregon, Washington, British Columbia, and the Alaskan Panhandle or Inland Passage region are now a bit cooler than regions of corresponding latitude inland.
Chapter 11. The people of Alaska. Alaska is so thinly populated that there is still about 1 square mile, 2.6 square kilometers, of land for each person. The most rapid growth occurred immediately after World War II. In 1940, the population was 73,000. By 1990, the population had risen to 550,000.
About 16,000 Alaskans are foreign-born. Of the total foreign population, the most common nationalities are Russian, Filipino, Japanese, Chinese, and Scandinavian.
The Alaskan native peoples number about 85,000. The 4 major native groups are Inuit, or Eskimo, Athabaskan, Aleut, and Tlingit. The majority maintain subsistence economies within their native cultures, But many of those who live in the larger villages and cities now choose non-traditional occupations, often in local, state, or federal government. There are several native languages spoken in Alaska divided into these major groups.
This shows the overall distribution of native languages in Alaska.
The Inuits, also known as Eskimos, live in the coastal region of Alaska.
The Aleuts are closely related to the Inuit but have their own language and customs. They live on the Foggy Aleutian and Pribilof Islands, the Alaska Peninsula, and Kodiak Island.
The Aleuts are skilled seamen and fishermen. The Tlingits live in the panhandle of southeastern Alaska. The indigenous people of the Alaska interior are mainly Athabaskan.
The Athabaskans live in the interior region of Alaska and British Columbia. Chapter 12. Alaska Economy and Agriculture. The important petroleum operations began with the discovery of oil on the Kenai Peninsula in 1957. The largest petroleum deposits in North America were discovered in the northern Pawaho Bay area in 1968.
An 800-mile, 1280 kilometers, pipeline from the Pawaho Bay area to the all-year port of Valdez in the south was completed in 1977.
The construction of the pipeline and the increase in oil production brought about significant growth of Alaska's economy and population.
Mink is the most valuable fur taken by trappers. Also important are beaver, marten, lynx, coyote, land otter, and muskrat. Fur farming in Alaska, mostly mink and fox, was at one time an important industry.
Alaska is known to have large reserves of gold, nickel, tin, lead, zinc, copper, and molybdenum. Because of transportation difficulties, development of the state's mineral resources has been slow. Two major mines went into production in 1989 and 1990. Greens Creek Mine is in the southeast, near Juneau, and the Red Dog Mine is in the northwest, near Kotzebue.
The minerals that reach outside markets are chiefly those of high value and low volume: gold, platinum, chrome, mercury, silver, and molybdenum.
Accounting for more than half of Alaska's mineral production are petroleum, sand and gravel, coal, gold, and natural gas.
Chapter 13. Alaska Agriculture.
Alaska imports from the other states about 90% of its food. Very little of its vast area is suitable for farming. Good land is usually covered with trees and is difficult and expensive to clear.
Farm machinery and fertilizer are also expensive because they must be imported. The growing season, the time between killing frosts, is short, but plants grow rapidly because of the long summer daylight.
The most profitable crops in Alaska are perishable products, garden vegetables, milk, and eggs command a good price in the local markets because of their freshness. Potatoes are a standard crop. Dairying is one of the principal farm activities. Oats and legumes take the place of corn for silage and are also used for hay. Most of Alaska's farming takes place in the Matanuska Valley, just northeast of Anchorage. The long hours of daylight produce potatoes, carrots, and cabbages of enormous size.
Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, both the amount of farmland and the total number of farms experienced a steady decrease. By 1989, only about 4,100 square kilometers of land was in farms as compared to the total area of 1.7 million square kilometers. This represents a mere 0.24% of Alaska's total in farmland.
Chapter 14. Recreation and Tourism.
Tourism is the state's third major industry, and thousands of tourists visit Alaska every year. Most visitors come by plane, boat, or ferry, but a growing number travel by car or bus over the scenic Alaska Highway.
This is the scenic Alaska Highway.
There are a large number of national parks in Alaska.
Of particular note are Denali National Park in the interior, north of Anchorage, and Glacier Bay National Park at the northern end of the Inside Passage near Skagway.
One of Alaska's main tourist attractions, the Denali National Park and Preserve, is in the spectacular Alaska Range. Within the vast park is Muldrow Glacier, more than 50 miles, 80 kilometers, long, fed by snow from Mount McKinley and other peaks. Glacier Bay National Park and Preserve, to the northwest of Juneau, is famous for its vast ice fields and fjord-like bays. Tourists come to Juneau to view the awesome Mendenhall Glacier and watch the autumn salmon runs.
Katmai National Park and Preserve, on the Alaska Peninsula, is noted for its volcanoes.
Totem poles are the principal attractions of Sitka National Historical Park, in the Panhandle. Chapter 15. Communications and Transportation.
Alaska has more than 200 satellite communications sites in operation. Long-distance telephone service is available to every community of 25 or more people. The satellite Aurora was put into orbit in 1982 solely for Alaskan household use. Live or same-day television is available to 90% of the population via satellite. Many cities have their own stations, as well as cable hookups. South Central Alaska is linked with the interior by the Alaska Railroad, and by a network of paved roads that connect with the Alaska Highway.
The Alaska Railroad runs from the coast at Seward through Anchorage and Denali Park up to Fairbanks.
Large parts of Alaska are inaccessible by road, including the state capital, Juneau.
The only towns in the southeast panhandle that have access by motor road to the Alaska Highway are at the northern end, such as Haines and Skagway.
The Haines Highway runs through Canada towards Anchorage and Fairbanks.
The Klondike Highway runs from Skagway to Whitehorse, in the Yukon Territory.
The backbone of transportation is the airplane. Established routes connect all cities and towns, and many small villages receive mail and freight by airplane only.
In addition to scheduled flights, there are experienced bush pilots who operate their own planes and will fly anywhere, weather permitting.
The Alaskan ferries, which look similar to tour boats, connect the towns along the coast on regular schedules. The communities of the Panhandle are served by several ferries that run between Washington State and Skagway.
Ferries in southwestern Alaska serve towns from Kodiak to Valdez, with limited summer service to Dutch Harbor.
Chapter 32. Recommended videos, Alaska.
Recommended video, Alaska 50 states, U.S. geography. 2 minutes. 30 seconds. Recommended video, National Geographic, Discovering Alaska. 6 minutes. 22 seconds.
Recommended video, 7 Facts About Alaska. 5 minutes. 56 seconds. Recommended video, Alaska and Hawaii Compared. 18 minutes. 59 seconds.
Recommended video, how the geography of the US is weirder than you think. 6 minutes. 17 seconds.
Recommended video, top 10 tourist attractions in Alaska. 1 minute. 30 seconds.
Recommended video, 15 top tourist attractions in Alaska. 2 minutes. 8 seconds. Recommended video, Alaska's Inside Passage Vacation Travel Video Guide. 25 minutes. 42 seconds. Recommended video, things to do in Alaska's Inside Passage. 3 minutes. 9 seconds.
Recommended video, Viking, Alaska and the Inside Passage. 2 minutes. 48 seconds.
Table of Contents, Alaska.
Thanks for watching.